inemeva iyahlaba sizozabalas imalenze inemeva iyahlaba sizozabalas zabalas sizozabalas mandla matla viva SADTU viva viva SADTU viva phambili ngemfundo phambili phambili ngemfundo phambili qina msebenzi qina qina msebenzi qina qina COSATU qina qina COSATU qina. Comrades, let me start by acknowledging the leadership of SADTU, Comrade President Mahope Mapila, Deputy President Mabuto Kele, Comrade General Secretary Mugwena Maluleka, Deputy General Secretary Comrade Nkosana Dolopi, Comrade National Treasurer Comrade Lindy Mutswani, Vice President responsible for education Comrade Faseha Solomon, Vice President responsible for gender Comrade Dudunkosi, Vice President responsible for sports, arts and culture Comrade Nolita Mboniswa. I want also to take this opportunity to welcome the leadership of COSATU. Comrade President of COSATU is here with us. I don't know where she is sitting, or she's sitting out there. Comrade GS of the party, also here with us. Comrade leadership of SANCO, I didn't see them. Let me also acknowledge members of the diplomatic corps who are here present and our international guests who have already been acknowledged, and some of them will be acknowledged fully later on. Let me also greet other distinguished guests who are present in this Congress, but more importantly, you, the delegates. Phambili ngama-delegates, phambili. Phambili ngama-delegates, phambili. Those of us who had an opportunity to go to conferences and be nominated and elected know how important the delegates are. So the leadership must make sure as they go around during tea break, banubulis, or else. Compatriots, good morning once again. Today I'm humbled to address the 10th National Congress of the South African Democratic Teachers Union, an affiliate of COSATU, our most dependable ally as the African National Congress. I bring to you revolutionary greetings from the leadership of the African National Congress, which reaffirms its commitment to the working class. but also to the progressive formations of the left within the mass democratic movement. We acknowledge the commitment to the principles of the National Democratic Revolution that SADTU continues to display, and we recognize your role in the transformation of the education sector and our society as a whole. Comrade President and General Secretary, the leadership of SADTU, in my previous life, I was once head of political education for the ANC when this area was called PWV region. And I developed tendencies at the time to read and reread documents again and again. So I had the opportunity to reread the theme of this conference, to deeply appreciate what this Congress seeks to address and achieve. I might be wrong, but I have come to an understanding that there are critical issues that concern you as a union, representing teachers and educators in our country. These issues are related to adequate investment in skills that will not only produce globally competitive individuals, but patriotic citizens who will contribute to the growth and development of our country. In this regard, we agree with you. Hence, together over the past 30 years, we have been investing in policies and programs that are aimed at supporting our teaching fraternity, the children and their families. In your capable hands, we have always trusted that you will usher us to global platforms where our youth can display excellence because of your contribution to the skills and capacity of their development. As they go out there to face the world. We thank you, teachers, for that. The Human Resource Development Council of South Africa, which includes both the Department of Basic and Higher Education and Training, amongst others, is a strategic platform where government addresses some of the human resource and skills concerns in our country that the labor movement in general is also concerned about. And I'm happy that some of the representatives of the Human Resource Development Council are present here today with us. I have served in that council, which I chair with Comrade Njali and many other comrades from the labor movement, and also civil society and business. It's very important that we have to prepare our nation for the digital economy. So we must provide our children with relevant skills that will make them to be competitive out there. But also the Human Resource Development Council also deals not only with young people, but also to ensure that adults as well do receive continuous training. You know, when you learn or you get educated or get skills, it's not something that ends. We were talking with some comrades this weekend and we were saying to them, you know, in China, every leader in China of the Communist Party must every year visit and spend time at the party school. Every year. So I know when I saw Habulile, Winkokeli, no, every year you go for refresher courses. And we must make it the same here at home. Babangata, the leaders who run around and they claim they know everything, make bafike esikolweni to the party school. Because when we do that, we will be able to be alert, we'll be able to know where we are taking this revolution to. I know that the ANC has sent a lot of leaders to China, but we also have our own party school. Masisebenzi said, sitting skolosele and lilona basatu liba kosatu, you are welcome at that school. Ozan siofunda sonke. Compatriots, this conference takes place a day after the national commemoration of Heritage Day, an important day in our country that celebrates our diverse history and heritage and garners us towards unity in diversity as inscribed in our National Code of Arms. This year's celebration, held in Fixbeck in the Free State, was dedicated to remembering the heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for our freedom. This celebration forms part of continued efforts by our comrades in government who have led and supported the repatriation process or the homecoming of the remains of many of our fallen comrades, starting with those from Zimbabwe and Zambia who are arriving today. As we speak, some of those remains will be arriving at Waterkloof today. Amongst them, Advocate Dumanokwe, known to many of us as the youngest Secretary General of the African National Congress, Florence Muposho and Basil February, but they are coming with 49 other people, or let me say 49 other remains of our heroes. This is just the beginning of bringing these heroes back home who fell on different grounds of other countries during the liberation struggle. I'm told that there could be as many as 1,000 comrades who fell during the liberation struggle. And all of them will have, their remains will have to come and be buried back at home. That's the project we are busy with. Comrade delegates, it is noteworthy that some of the celebrated fallen soldiers went into exile in the aftermath of the 1976 student uprising, a period which epitomized a moment of discontent towards apartheid in general, but the segregationist education laws that sought to disenfranchise black children in particular. The call to transform education is therefore one that is deeply rooted in the agenda of non-racism, non-sexism, and towards a more egalitarian society. Education has always been at the center of the development and advancement of the vision of the kind of society we want. You can go back to the African claims, the Freedom Charter, Ready to Govern, or even the RDP, but also lately now our Constitution adopted in 1996. All these documents allude to the importance of education. Fellow delegates, in honoring the journey that SADTU has traversed, we must take a moment to reflect on the process towards your establishment, in particular your success in producing many highly seasoned leaders who have played a critical role in the ANC and the mass democratic movement broadly, and continue to do so to date. We must acknowledge that many of the leaders today come from the hands of teachers like yourselves. Unless if you are a leader of Saya Skolong, then we can't say that, you see. But all the leaders come from the hands of teachers. And we know some of them were very naughty at school. I won't say who. But the teachers had to get us right. And until today, we are better leaders. Compatriots, the formation of the Teachers' Union was an integral part of transforming the sector, but also in uniting the working class under a banner of progressive politics that sought to improve the status of black workers in particular, but the working class in general. Indeed, the sector has undergone 30 years of concerted efforts to transform the education system. This premise on the South African Schools Act of 1996, which promotes compulsory access to quality education for all and enhances democratic governance in the schooling system. Guided by the Freedom Charter, which advances the following: the doors of learning and culture shall be open to all. Close quote. And guided by this, President Ramaphosa has recently signed into law the Bela Bill, or shall I say the famous Bela Bill, which is aimed at consolidating gains in education, specifically as it relates to early childhood development, non-discriminatory access, diversity and inclusion, and improving school governance mechanisms. Now, there have been a lot of debates in the media about this bill and the fact that there are others who want it to be changed. And we agreed with the president. We said, the president, go ahead, sign the bill. Those who are still having issues, because we don't want a situation where people say, President, take the bill back to Parliament. Then it takes another year in Parliament. So, bazawusithola phambili. Haiduma yatsama. Fellow delegates, our celebration of 30 years of democracy is therefore a celebration of activist teachers and patriotic citizens who have shown commitment to both sound pedagogy and the building of a developmental state as conceptualized and envisaged through many of our policies. Comrades, in 2024 national general elections, we did not do well. And this resulted in us as the ANC and the alliance broadly suffering what we refer to as a strategic setback. And this strategic setback resulted in us not being able to establish a government on our own and ending up in what we now know as the Government of National Unity. We agree that the GNU is not our ideal choice. But our approach as the ANC, together with the Alliance, was to find a way to ensure that we are not derailed from our main goal of transforming our society, including our education sector, for the better. As a result, we have to be strategic and ensure that the setback we suffered should not dislodge us from the levers of state power necessary for driving transformation, including the working conditions and better remuneration for our teachers. I heard, comrades, when I came in here, you were singing a song, Tina Sithwele Kanzima, Rialuthwa. You know, teachers are doing a good job in our country. They work very hard, and it must be up to us as the leadership to make sure that we deal with their conditions of employment. The conditions of employment of teachers, and dare I say, including better remuneration for teachers. You know, this view that, oh, Mau teacher, it's like, you know, it's another career. No, it's a very important one. Very important. We want more for our children to take this route of becoming teachers. But if the conditions are bad, the remuneration is bad, then our children will not look forward to become teachers. And teachers are the backbone of our society. Let us take care of them. Having said that, comrades, we recognize that the GNU has now reached almost 100 days in office, and we have been trying very hard to make sure that we are focused. There are many out there who are saying, in last year, but we from the ANC are making sure that we are focused on that minimum program of ensuring that there's an inclusive growth of our economy, fighting poverty, reducing inequality, and addressing the cost of living, as well as building an ethical, developmental, and capable state. But prices of food, goods, going up every day. That must be the preoccupation of the government, to make sure that we work with the private sector and everybody else to address these issues, build an economy that grows and create jobs. There's no point in building an economy that grows, but there are no jobs. We have to address this challenge, and that's what we are preoccupied with. And I want to assure you, comrade delegates, that no progressive policies of our movement will be changed. No progressive policies of our movement will be changed. Let's go to we have to make sure that we continue with the building of the National Democratic Society. That must continue, and this NDR remains on course. Siyaqhuba, siyaphambili. Fellow compatriots, allow me to make some reflections on the future of South Africa and what we believe it should look like as we forge ahead in the next or another 30 years. We do want to ensure that another 30 years remains a robust, democratic, and healthy society. This reflection is informed by the analysis made by Marx and Engels in the preamble of the Communist Manifesto when they said the following: "The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle." Close quote. We are therefore compelled to be robust in how we think about economic and power relations, at least to the effect that these anchor our shared vision of a national democratic society and the importance to prioritize the building of an inclusive and sustainable economy, as currently captured in the theme of your Congress. We have to, at the top of our minds, be informed by this reality, that the history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggle. And the leadership of our movement has to be guided by this in whatever they do to deal with the challenges we face. We are not oblivious to the fact that the state of the labor market over the past few years essentially highlight the impact of the segregated apartheid policy or apartheid economic policy, which largely excluded black people and excluded many of our people based on race, gender, and geographic locations, amongst other things. I'm sure you have gone through a lot of this in the past. During the apartheid years, our people were bundled into homelands and areas that are not productive for their development. We therefore makes it our mandate to transform this economy. No matter how complex it may be, it must be our duty to transform it. If we look at employment figures released by Stats SA, it highlights that unemployment has increased to 33.5% in the period between April to June. It has increased. So we must be worried about this aspect as a leadership of government to deal with this. It has increased, rising for the third consecutive quarter and reaching its highest rate in 2 years. A grim reality of the lives of many South Africans, which we must address. On the other hand, the number of employed people has decreased to 16.7 million in the second quarter, while that of jobless people has increased to 8.4 million, another increase of about 158 people. So these are the issues that must keep us to have sleepless nights. These are the issues that we must be worried about every day. These statistics require that we ask ourselves difficult questions and find solutions to how we can turn our economy around, reversing unemployment and building inclusive growth. Program directors, as a government, we remain determined to tackle unemployment. Comrade delegates, you'll recall that the President introduced Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, the PYEI, also established the South African Youth MOBI as a zero-rated platform for unemployed young people to access opportunities for learning and earning, so that they learn, but they learn skills that allow them to be able to be productive, some of them running their own businesses, small businesses, and employing many other young people. As we speak, over 4.3 million young people are now engaged on the network, and 1.6 million have so far secured these opportunities. But we need to do more, because there are many, particularly young people out there, who are still facing the scourge of unemployment. Comrade delegates, I want to also assure you that the Government of National Unity's commitment to protecting and extending labor rights to all workers remains resolute. I know that at the beginning of the GNU, there was a lot of concern that some of the partners with us in the GNU, ababafuna basebenzi. We are aware of that. And there was a worry that some of them might try to use the GNU to reverse the gains that the workers have achieved over time. I want to say on behalf of the ANC, over our dead body. Hasote yetsagale. Angeke soze yenzagale. We will defend the gains of the workers of this country to the end. We have to do that, and we will be watching them with a hawk's eye. Mabazama ukuzama proposal la snacks. Sizobavimba. Realerata basebenzi. And I'm happy when Comrade General Secretary was whispering to me as we're sitting there. He says, Comrade DP, I think you won the way you did in this election because SADTU was there. I want if SADTU needs you, I'm never going to Comrade delegates, let me assure you that the GNU's commitment to protecting and extending labor rights, as I said, will remain resolute. Our goal is to encourage, amongst others, fix in capital investments, ensure industrialization, job creation, and the transformation of our people's life. We must at all times strive to promote the goals of economic growth, participation in economic decision-making, and social equity. We should remain intentional in investing in people through education and skills development. As partners at the government level, we must work together to ensure that ours is a stable, efficient, and effective democracy that brings all people together. The government is prioritizing social compacting as an avenue to address some of the persistent challenges that we face in our country. As the Alliance, we must advocate for a comprehensive social compact through social dialogue as a political practice rooted in the tradition of the mass democratic movement and has to be invaluable, especially during periods of transition. The government is therefore committed to public participation and social partner engagement to find solutions to the overarching challenges of this economy, overarching challenges of unemployment, ensuring inclusion, addressing service delivery, social protection, and sustained campaigns against corruption, sexism, racism, and homophobia. We envisage that through the national dialogue or the national dialogue process, we are afforded an opportunity to do mainly two things. The first one is to build a social contract between government and the people in the wake of the election campaign and the outcome thereof, as we said earlier, that we did not do well. By listening and engaging with the citizens through this process, we hope to engender trust and hope for the future, and win the support for the National Development Plan and its implementation by this 7th administration through our medium development plan. Secondly, we see the national dialogue process as an opportunity to secure commitments from all stakeholders who can carry a mandate to collaborate with the government to achieve common goals. Your role as teachers, as a union in this regard is very imperative in mobilizing the motive forces and professionals in particular towards this program. Among other things, through the national dialogue, we aim to initiate fresh conversations that tackle relevant unresolved issues that affect most South Africans, particularly the working class and the marginalized in our society. We believe, comrades, that developing a solid strategy for economic transformation should be at the center of this dialogue to address the stubborn challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. The date for the national dialogue has not yet been set, but as we know, the President has called for this dialogue, and we are currently busy preparing for it. We don't want it to be a talk shop. It must come with clear, implementable plans. And the ANC, as a leader of the National Democratic Revolution, must remain at the driving seat of this program. In conclusion, comrades, as the African National Congress and the Alliance, we should at no point abandon our commitment to the ideals of non-racialism, non-sexism, democracy, and egalitarianism. We are still guided by the Freedom Charter in whatever we do. We are still guided by the attainment of the National Democratic Society. And we will never be deterred. Ngamanye amagama asijiki. We shall never be deterred. We wish SADTU well as it continues with its Congress and look forward to the declaration of this Congress. I would have liked to participate and listen to more discussions, especially in commissions, but the President has given me a task that is taking me out of the country, so I have to travel. But I do wish you well. Ha re sebetseng mmogo. Re tlo le supporta rona, re tlo bereka le lona. SADTU angeke sinlahle. Ningasilahle na. Thank you very much, comrades. Akhensa inkomo. Mandla. Matla. Qina SADTU qina. Qina SADTU qina. Hai hule SADTU hai hule. Hai hule SADTU hai hule. All power. Akhensa inkomo.
If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.